Hello, my friends. This is Lynda Lippin, and welcome to the Pilates Goddess podcast. Well, hello, my friends. It's Lynda Lippin here, and thank you once again for coming back to yet another episode of the Pilates Goddess podcast. I am so thrilled that you are here. Today, I'm talking about a topic that is very near and dear to me because it's something that I hadn't really thought well about when I first started my Pilates business over 30 years ago, and is something that I think a lot about now. And that is pricing. So, how do we, as Pilates professionals, and this really goes for any service professional, how do we price our services? Now, this came to me today because I was in one of the many Pilates teacher Facebook groups that I'm in, and somebody asked, so I'm a new teacher about to finish my qualifications. I'm in this area. What's the going rate for private sessions? And I thought, no, my friend. Don't make the same mistake I made and start pricing based on what you think is the going rate in your area. So what we're going to talk about today is, first of all, how to think personally about what you want to charge or how much money you need to make. Secondly, we'll talk about different ways of sort of structuring your business model that may allow you to make what you need to make without necessarily charging a ridiculous amount of money to your clients. Okay. And I think, you don't want to sit there thinking, but I can only charge up to this. I need to make this much to live, and none of that's going to work unless I work, 80 hours a week, which is not sustainable. So I would like you to leave this particular podcast episode with some good ways of structuring things in your brain so that you can come up with a sustainable business model for your Pilates practice. So number one, when you are thinking about pricing or, making money in a business, the first thing you need to think about is how much money you need. And that's going to depend, right? Like, I live in Lower Manhattan. My rent is outrageously expensive. So I know that but again, I also run my business from my apartment. So there's that. So I know that, I need to be able to cover rent. I need to be able to cover utilities. I need to be able to cover my high-speed Fios internet bill, because obviously that's crucial to the running of my business. And I might want to go away once in a while. I might want to be able to buy nice things. I might want to tip my service providers well for the holidays. I might want to send nice gifts to my clients, whatever that looks like for me. So you need to sit down and you need to figure out first how much you need to make and how much you'd like to make. Okay. And again, those numbers will be different for everybody, but take every single thing into account. Every single thing that you pay for, that you like, your streaming services, your takeout every once in a while, going out on a date every once in a while, a vacation sometimes, whatever that looks like. Seriously sit down, dig deep, and make lists of what you're spending on a monthly basis and what you're spending on an annual basis, okay? And then once you have those numbers, the second step is to really think about how many hours a week you would like to work. And if you're running your own business, how many hours a week you want to do client facing and how many hours a week you want to do in terms of administrative tasks and things. Which you can also at some point hire out for, by the way. But at the beginning, I understand you might feel like you want to do it all on your own, and that's fine. So if you're going to bootstrap it, then you need to really, you need to be really hone in on this information. I know, for example, that, 33 years into my teaching career, at no point in time do I want now to teach 35 to 40 hours a week in a studio. Okay, I did that. I've done that. Those years are past, and that's not something I want to do. In fact, I don't really want to teach in a studio, so I teach purely online. And client facing, I limit myself to 3 to 5 hours a day, 5 days a week. And the rest of the time, I'm doing other things. I'm recording podcasts, I'm recording interviews, I'm being on other people's podcasts, I'm sending out emails, I'm doing social media posting, I'm updating my website, I'm doing all of those things. And then, I also have a personal life. Right? I got a husband, I've got a dog, I've got friends, I've got meetings, I've got, other things to do. So figure out, number one, how much you need to make. Number two, how many hours you really want to work a week. Now, once you figured all of that out, then obviously you need to do a little bit of math. You need to minimally divide out per week or per month the number of hours that you want to work and the amount of money that you need to make. And that's going to kind of give you an idea of what you need to be earning per hour. And my recommendation to you is that you do not hinge all of your hours on a dollar for hours scenario. Most Pilates teachers end up doing that, at least at the beginning. You're selling private sessions, you're selling one-to-one, and that means that you're basically just trading dollars for hours of your time, which is kind of a classic employee scenario or classic workplace scenario, that we've been dealing with for a long time. But then you may notice that there are some of us in studios and online who are also kind of offering other things, right? Sometimes we offer 4 to 6 week programs for people. Sometimes we're offering workshops or continuing education. Sometimes we're offering group classes and memberships and ways of supporting people in that way, as opposed to just seeing people one-to-one or in classes. So if you look at the way I've structured my business, for example, I see some clients one-to-one, and those clients pay a lot for their one-to-one work with me, by the way. Right now, my pricing is at $180 an hour with discounts if people want to do monthly subscriptions or packages. And that, is expensive, and I know it. And for Pilates teachers, I'm charging right now $120, and that's also going to be going up next week. So privates with me are great. And I love teaching them, but, you need to be at a certain economic level to afford those. And I know that. But then I also offer online subscriptions and group programs. So I have my Strong Bones Pilates online studio, where the members get, 4 live classes with me a week, access to the on-demand studio, which has like 100 classes in it now, pretty much all osteoporosis friendly. And then if they wish to do any private work in addition to that, they get discounts on, privates and other things. Then I offer Pilates Mat Mastery and I offer Pilates Teacher Mastermind. And those are both kind of subscription-based programs where you come in, you just pay a monthly subscription, and you have access to pre-recorded online continuing education videos, as well as at higher, levels of the subscription, private coaching sessions with me on Zoom, group chat and mats, group coaching sessions, group classes, and again, discounts on, other workshops and services. And I serve all of that online. Now, if you are planning to teach live, you can also structure things this way. You can do some one-on-ones. You can do some semi-privates, duets or trios. You can do some group classes where people are paying less money, but you're making more in that hour because you got more bodies in. You can offer workshops. You can offer, monthly subscriptions, which give your clients a certain number of classes or sessions a month, and maybe a little discount on other offerings. So there are tons of ways to kind of structure your pricing, your programming, and your life so that you can serve the people you wish to serve, make the money that you need to make, and work the hours that you wish to work, which for me is just a huge kind of win-win for everybody. But again, none of this starts by looking at what the going pricing is. And I'm going to tell you why. We tend, I think, to assume that, say, because somebody has been in business for a while and they appear to be successful, and I say appear to be because there's tons of people who post all kinds of stuff online, and in their personal lives, that's really not what's happening. So, and it also depends on, your definition of success. If your definition of success is a certain amount of financial gain, or if your definition of success is client satisfaction, or, your definition of success is I can take 2 or 3 days off a week and still make enough money to live, whatever that looks like for you, that's something that you're going to define for yourself. But you don't know what any of these other people's definition of success is, or if they in fact are successful. So your going rates in your area might actually include pricing structures that are not sustainable and not profitable. That could include people who are renting out at a lower price than you because they're in a different area or they've been there longer. It can include, people who say have their own money, have a trust fund, have a spouse or a partner that's their prime income earner for the household. So they're not worried about making a profit on their Pilates business. Okay, because that's a thing as well. So, assuming that you wish to create a Pilates, again, or other service business that is profitable, that allows you to work in the way that you would like to work and structure your time the way that you would like to structure your time. And which is also a win for your clients, because if you're running around like a chicken with its head cut off and you're, worried about money and pricing and all of that, then, your clients aren't getting the best from you because you've got a lot of other things on your plate. What you want to be focused on is serving your clients and then how your business is going to serve you. Okay, you are part of this equation. So think about how much money you spent on your Pilates certification. Think about how much money you spend on continuing to do Pilates, which I hope you're doing, in terms of private classes, in terms of continuing education, in terms of things like my Pilates Teacher Mastermind. Take into account any rental you might be paying, even if it's just an hourly, studio rental, because that matters. If you need to walk away from an hour with $100, and you decide to charge $100, and if you have to pay $20, $30, $40 in rent to a studio for the hour, that's, cutting your income by 20, 30, 40%. So you need to kind of factor, all of those things in. So the rates people charge are actually kind of very personalized, and I think have a lot to do with how people know you in the marketplace, and that people understand the value that you bring to that marketplace, right? So for me, you hear me consistently talking about the value of doing this stuff online, where you don't have to pay to go to a studio. You don't have to take the time to go to the studio. You don't have to be on a subway. You don't have to drive and worry about parking. You don't have to deal with waiting for the Uber. You're just home and can do whatever you want to until the time that your session, starts. my clients value that, but they also value the fact that they continue getting stronger and feeling better doing their work with me online in the same way that a lot of them did in the studio. So it's really a win-win and works for all involved. But if you're only working on trading dollars for hours, then you kind of end up in a little bit of a squeeze, because then you're going to get really freaky when your clients cancel, when holidays come and people go away for weeks at a time. I know, like here in Northeast US, a lot of folks head south or out of the country to the Caribbean or whatever for the winter. And so or they're up skiing, they're up in Aspen or upstate or wherever. And so we don't, there's some clients who I don't see a lot certain times of the year. And sometimes, those can be clients that when they're in town are seeing you 2 to 4 times a week. And if you're only relying on those client facing hours for your income, you can imagine that those months when your 4-time-a-week clients are away, you're losing, minimally several hundred, if not a few $1,000s during those months. So if you can structure your business in a way that takes all of those things into account from the beginning, that yes, I'm going to have some months when people are away. Yes, I'm going to have some months when this is happening. And that's when you structure a, 4 to 6 weeks, say, intro course for back pain or neck pain or whoever your ideal client is. And you run that either, in a studio or you run it on Zoom, then that you've got the money for that, for that period of time. If you are looking at your calendar in advance, which I really suggest that you do, then maybe you schedule those 4 to 6 week programs during times when your other clients are away. And that way you're automatically making back that income or making up that income or even making even more income. Maybe you can talk to your clients who do go away and say, look, even if you are going to a Pilates studio in Florida or wherever you are, I'm still happy to do a Zoom session with you at least once or twice a week so that, we can keep you still on, moving forward in the work that we are doing together, right? There's all kinds of things that you can do, but again, it requires planning. I really don't ever recommend doing things like crowdsourcing your pricing or crowdsourcing what you're going to do with your clients or how you want to structure your business. For these things, you need to look to people who have experience in the business and people who have experience in creating businesses, working online, working offline, creating pricing, and doing all of the things. So, for example, in my Pilates teacher mastermind programs, I have 3 levels, right? So I have one level, which is a $29 a month level where you really don't get a lot of personal interaction with me, but you do get regular continuing education videos every month, as well as a newsletter and some discounts. And then I have a second level of membership that's $59 a month that gives you all of that, but also gives you monthly Zoom meetings with me and chat and mats with me so we can talk about things like this. And yes, it's in a group session, but you're with other Pilates professionals and me, so we're all good. And this way we can work out in those sessions the pricing issues, the business issues, and continuing education issues, whatever else we need to look at. And then finally, there's a third level, which includes all the stuff from 1 and 2 or bronze and silver. And then suddenly in the gold level, it's $99 a month, but you're getting a half an hour private Zoom with me every single month to really work through in a more intensive way any questions that you might have on implementing the things that I bring up in the continuing education and business development videos. And you construct, it's very easy to structure these things. It's very easy to do these things. But again, you need to think about who it is that you serve and how you want to serve them. For me, I know we like to think that Pilates is for everybody, but really I have another episode, if you go back in the podcast, on why you need to niche as a Pilates teacher. But, my clients tend to be high net worth women who are either retired or still working, who have low bone density, osteoporosis, and or chronic pain. Some of them have, joint replacements, arthritis, like other things. And they come to me because they know they're going to feel and function better. Now, does that mean like if a guy reaches out and wants, or a younger woman reaches out and they want to work with me, that I say no? Absolutely not. But those are not the people I market to. Those are not the people I talk to generally when I'm talking online. Then on the business to business side, obviously, I serve Pilates instructors. And I serve Pilates instructors who really want support, who want a direct relationship with a Pilates teacher and coach, who has the business experience, who has the Pilates experience, who has the testimonials, who has been through, brick and mortar studios, who has worked overseas at, private hotels and resorts, who still does sourcing of Pilates teachers, and who, serves very specifically the continuing education and business coaching needs of Pilates teachers. Now, there's a lot of folks out there who do things in slightly, different ways. There are plenty of teachers out there who are focused. I have clients actually who focus on, people over 60 who want to feel and look their best for the rest of their lives. I have a Pilates teacher client who focuses on working with performers, performing dancers, movers, actors, especially giving them programs for in between seasons so that they are able to stay very strong and very mobile and very ready for what's coming at them, in the next performing season, as well as maintenance. I have clients who focus on working with folks with neurological disorders, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, things like that. And these are all things that I've worked with. Okay. But know that, as I say in my episode on niching, your niche can change over the course of time. So, my niche 10 years ago was women with diastasis recti and hernia after pregnancy. But now that, I'm a little bit older, I'm finding that I'm really happy serving the women over 50 with chronic pain and low bone density. So, there we go. If you want to serve athletes, whoever it is, think about who you want to serve, how you want to serve them, and how you want to structure it. So if you're listening to this and you're writing and you're taking some notes, and if you haven't taken notes, I recommend re-listening and taking some notes, because the stuff in here is stuff that that my clients actually have paid to hear before. If you would like to learn more, you can head on over to PilatesTeacherMastermind.com, or head over to my website, LyndaLippin.com. Or reach out to me on social media. I'm Lynda Lippin, or Lynda Lippin Pilates, everywhere: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. Although I'm not sure how long I'm staying on Twitter. I'm not so happy with the Twitter situation, but that's a whole nother podcast. So I hope you found this useful. I hope you enjoyed this. And once again, I want to thank you so, so much for being here and for listening to me on the Pilates Goddess podcast. Please, 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 if you like this episode and if you listen to some others and like those, please go over to Spotify and Apple Podcasts and leave a rating and a review. Thanks so much. And I'll talk to you next time. Thank you so much for listening to the Pilates Goddess podcast. Music brought to you by Nerd Salad. Please leave a review on Apple Podcasts, especially if you liked it. And please like, share, and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks.